I have to say, I sort of followed the week very closely. Lots and lots of virtue signalling and a lot of nonsense talked. Alok Sharma, who is the president of this COP26, who is not exactly the most inspiring political figure, standing up on stage and saying, I feel that the end of coal is close. Well, I tell you what, Mr. Sharma, this year the Chinese will burn 4 billion tonnes of it and the Indians 1 billion tonnes of it. Frankly, so much of what has been said means nothing without the cooperation of those big countries. Arlene, do you wish you'd been there at COP26 all week?
Well, Nigel, I thought you were going to go to a cave this week and avoid all television. So I'm quite surprised to hear that you've been listening very closely to COP26. But look, I mean, I think there has been some successes during the week. I mean, I do actually believe in the deforestation pledge. I think that's a good thing that we're going to stop that across. I think it's 130 countries have signed up to that, and to actually try and reverse. Because I'm a great believer in planting more trees and having trees as a natural carbon capture across the piece. So, I mean, I'm in favour of that, but I do think some of the hyperbole that has come from COP26 has been really quite incredible, and everybody's trying to outdo each other on how green they are, and I'm greener than you. And I think Tom's report there just showed that there are so many people there for other reasons as opposed to saving the planet. I saw Palestinian flags. We've heard that there is SNP people there wanting an independent Scotland. So it looks as if it's a composite protest as opposed to a protest in relation to the environment.
Yeah, and Arlene, I'm absolutely with you. I'm tired of hearing all the negatives. What about some positives? Yeah, what about not just protecting forests from being cut down, but planting new ones as well. A lot of things we could talk about in terms of do that properly and get a big biodiversity uptick as well. So, yes, I want to hear some more positive things. But what hypocrisy? What hypocrisy? The Prime Minister stands up and says, we're going to stop deforestation. Well, the biggest power plant in this country is the Drax power plant in northern Yorkshire, and there we burn trees. Yes, that's right. Trees that come from the Baltic states and come from North America. We burn trees, and we actually use taxpayers' subsidy by putting extra expense on their bills. We subsidise all of this, and it's now the biggest single CO2 emitter in this country. This biofuels nonsense has to end, and if the Prime Minister has stood up and said that, I'd have a bit more respect for all of this. Sorry, Paul, I was on my hobby horse there, but it drives me bonkers.
Yeah, no, I noticed. I completely agree with Arlene around the hyperbole of the debate. There has been hysteria, there's been hyperbole, and my problem with it is actually, yes, climate change is a serious issue, unquestionably. Yes, we need an international approach to dealing with it. Of course we do. But these doomsday scenarios that some of the politicians and the media and various activists are constantly trotting out, I think just undermines their case in many respects. So I think we need a more temperate debate and a more proportionate debate. We shouldn't just constantly go for the worst case scenarios when having this debate, which is what too many people do. And actually, we need a plan. And this is the big problem. It's one thing saying we need to transition to a new green economy. Fine. But when you have across the world millions of people working in industries that will fall by the wayside during that transition, and you have no plan in place for making sure that those people stay in work and their communities are not decimated. When you don't have a plan for, if people have got to get rid of their boilers, get heat pumps, buy electric cars, how are they going to afford that? Then really it just becomes posturing. And I fear there's an awful lot of posturing going on in this debate, and it's really not helpful.
Well, in response, if Mr. Sharma was here, he would tell you that this week in Glasgow, countries have backed a tech plan to reach net zero. There has been a deforestation pledge with 100 countries signing up. He would tell you that India has signed up for a net zero target in 2070. And the finance industry will be forced to show their net zero plans. These, apparently, are the great gains this week.